Hello everybody, it's Wyvern here with another bit of Total War Warhammer quick match gameplay. This time around I'm playing as the Lizardmen against the Skaven, led by John Marsh 96 on the map, the Altar of Ultimate Darkness. So, right off the bat, I do want to go over the fact that, of course, I'm kind of still new and clueless as to what works and what doesn't. I wanted to try some stuff out. There will be much more content coming along for quick match, quick match as well as campaign gameplay. I will still be doing Warhammer 1 work, so no need to worry about that. I will definitely be posting my first campaign gameplay for Warhammer 2, as well as some kind of some reactions and information videos on it. There have been some changes in quick match beyond, of course, the unit sort of upgrades. Or the new unit kind of mechanics. So I did want to try out a Goon Squad build here with Kroq, but unfortunately, as you may or may not know if you have bought Warhammer 2, the max hero count in quick match has been reduced. You can only field 2 heroes alongside your main lord. This makes it a bit harder to Goon Squad than it was previously in Warhammer 1. But I decided to try it out anyway. So I brought Kroq on a Carnosaur. Kroq is, of course, or Grimlock the Carnosaur, which gives him absolute ludicrous stats. As far as damage goes, he's got a bonus against large, he's got pretty crazy melee attack and melee defense, despite the fact that he is on a large mount. Very solid armor at 100, very good charge bonus. Frenzy, of course, decent speed. Just figured all around lord who causes terror. Knowing I was going up against Skaven here, I wanted to try it out. I did not bring his special ability to give him magic missiles. I did, however, bring Swiftness of Itzel, which is basically an AoE knockback that helps him escape, and I brought Sacred Spawning of Zotel, which gives him some extra survivability. I also brought Cold-Blooded, and I brought Cold-Blooded on his two Scar veterans here as well, just to kind of allow him to heal units a little bit. One of the problems, of course, is that a lot of Lizardmen units are susceptible to Primal Instincts, which when they drop below 50%, they become uncontrollable and simply attack the nearest enemy unit. And this even affects our Scar veterans when they're mounted on Carnosaurs. Once they drop below 50%, they will rampage and your hero unit is uncontrollable. So it's definitely a bit of a risk, but I did bring Plaque of Dominion on him, which will help debuff the leadership on the Skaven and hopefully make him a little more easy to crush, and they also bring Cold-Blooded so they can help heal the units up. My front line is entirely composed of Saurus Warriors with shields. Of course, Skaven can bring a decent amount of shooting, though a lot of it is explosive, which makes shields somewhat questionable sometimes. But Saurus Warriors, with their high HP per model, they have over 100 HP per model, which puts them in line with... that puts them fairly close to something like Chosen, for example. So they're very tanky with 60 armor. They'll do very well against most Skaven units, even against Storm Vermin. And they have very high weapon strength, okay melee attack, okay melee defense. Though that's certainly not where the strength lies. Most of their strength simply comes from their ridiculous tankiness and ridiculous damage per hit. In the center, anchoring the line here, I did have the Bastillodon with the Revivification Crystal. This, when casted, it on an allied unit, it basically functions like a normal Invocation of Nehek. It resurrects dead combatants and replenishes the hit points. Also, kind of importantly, the Bastillodon with the Revivification Crystal is not affected by Rampage. It can't just run off, which gives you a decent source of armor piercing and anti-infantry, plus terror and some very huge tankiness at the heart of your line. That just simply won't run away, and it's fairly cheap at only 1,000 gold. On the flanks, I do have some Cold War Riders, and these guys, of course, are decent cavalry. They're fairly cheap. They have very high weapon strength, as a lot of these units do have, but it's armor piercing. But their charge bonus is not the best. It's kind of mediocre. Once again, these guys are not apparently susceptible to Rampage, which is very nice. But they're not that quick. Their armor's kind of okay. There's not that many of them. And neither the melee attack nor the melee defense is particularly impressive. So they're definitely not the best of units, but they're not a bad cavalry either. For my opponent, he's of course Skaven, so he brought a huge man-spammy army, 1,400 models, about 4 times the size of mine. But just Skaven, for his lord, he did decide to bring Quick Head Taker, probably for the survivability. It does appear that my opponent did not bring any sort of artillery or any heroes to back him up. But he did bring, though, with a whole bunch of Skaven slaves here in the front line to soak up the initial charge from the and soak up the initial attacks. These guys are dirt cheap and expendable. You can simply use them to soak up attacks from the bigger Saurus Warriors. And behind that, he has the Plague Monks, who should dish out a decent amount of work, especially the Plague Monks with Sensor Bearers with their armor-piercing flails. He also has some clan rats with spears and shields, and these guys should definitely be a decent counter to the Cold War Riders, especially in such quantity. And for a ranged contingent, he does have a mix of Poison Wind Bombardiers as well as Death Glow Bombardiers. And these guys can cause pretty immense damage. They have armor piercing, they have splash, some of the bonus against infantry in the case of the poison globadiers, and they can just be an absolute menace. Finally, we do get to see, and you can see over here on the flank, there's one unit of rat ogres, which I did forget to mention. And finally, though, we are getting to see the good old Doom Wheel, and the Doom Wheel is a bit of an interesting unit. I'm not entirely sure how powerful the laser actually is functionally. The missile damage is very low. Surprisingly, I actually expected it to be rather high, and with short cooldown, but with long cooldown, but not the case. Regardless, it does cause terror, it does cause fear, so it could definitely be a bit of a problem for my Saurus warriors. And yeah, it has decent armor. It's a pretty survivable unit and pretty mobile unit. So regardless, we are going to throw things into full gear here. I do apologize if some of these intros are a little slow sometimes. You can see I'm going straight in with the Scars and Grimlock, trying to get at this Doom Wheel and take it down as quickly as I can, while these cold ones going after the other Doom Wheel. I do apologize that some of these intros are a little slow sometimes, simply because of the fact that the units are new, everything's kind of new in this game, and I don't want people to be confused or not be sure what's going on. I want everyone to kind of have an idea and explain some things that you may or may not know. And if you do, my apologies. But hopefully, as the game kind of develops, I'll be able to be a little shorter on the intros. Over here, though, you can see the Cold One Riders do go in against the Doom Wheel, and they do very poorly. And in the meantime, these guys are just missing this Doom Wheel left and right, not able to land a decent hit on it. It does get a bit of lightning off at point blank, and it's actually firing constantly in close quarters, which is a little surprising. You can see it's getting absolutely picked apart here, and shortly will just simply go down. In the meantime, this other Doom Wheel is pursuing these Cold One Riders, but I do drop a Revivification Crystal on them, and I'm trying to resurrect them. It's basically like I said before, Revivification of Neck, and they do surround this Doom Wheel outside of the range of its supporting fire, and they should be able to maul it pretty badly. In the meantime, this Bestodon is pushing straight through, having terrified these Lanterns and Spears, and going straight after my opponent's backline, just trying to shut that down. As you can see, it is doing immense damage to my Saurus warriors with shields, though as part of it is also the Plague Monks and Extra Bearers, who simply do a lot of hurt. These Lanterns and Spears do not stand a chance against the Saurus warriors. They are going to get annihilated. You can see here the Kroq does push in, and he gets hit by trophy hits from Queek, which is a pretty powerful ability, but when it's only Kroq hit by it, it's not the end of the world. And in the meantime, you can see me hit the Plaque of Dominion here, dropping the enemy leadership by 8, and this should make the Skaven rout very, very quickly. And as you can see, the Cold One Riders are pursuing this Doom Wheel, attempting to chase it off the map and get rid of it for good, even as these Rat Ogres do push in after I'm trying to help. And you can see this huge terror out here, especially in the Skaven, what will lead Plague Monks, who are of course immune to terror, or as long as Frenzy is up, they're immune to psychology, are sticking around. But against the Saurus Veteran and Kroq, they don't really stand much of a chance as far as damage output goes. Unfortunately, I'm losing control of some of the Saurus warriors with shields. These guys are of course susceptible to being going on rampage. This Bastillodon, of course, still kind of running amok in the backline, but it's not doing crazy amounts of damage. It doesn't have the best melee stats, and it's fairly slow, so while it can definitely dish out some hurt sometimes, it's not the best. It reflects the cost, I suppose. In the meantime, though, here in the heart of the battle, you can see the Saurus is actually getting surrounded and kind of beaten down a bit by the Plague Monks. So I'm hitting him with another. I did just hit him with another plaque of Dominion. And you can see I did drop a Revivification Crystal on the Saurus Warriors' shields, trying to bring a few of them back. They do get plowed through by the Doom Wheel over there. And take a few model losses there, but they are slowly but surely chewing through those Plague Monks. In the meantime, Kroq has popped Swiftness of Eitzel, trying to buff himself up as we tear through these Plague Monks and Spares, who are here en masse, but against the horde of Carnosaurs, they really should not stand much of a chance, and they're kind of getting picked apart very, very quickly. In the meantime, the Bastillodon is doing its very best over here to just kind of rampage through the backline. You can see some Cold One Riders have come back. The fact that these guys are not susceptible to the rampage is very, very nice. It's something I didn't expect initially, and I'm happy about that. Meanwhile, you can see the wheel actually comes back onto the field. I thought I'd routed it off. I did not. It actually decides to make it come back here and start pursuing my Cold Ones once more. The Cold Ones, in the meantime, are slugging out with the Rat Ogres, who are my opponent has left behind, kind of assuming that his Doom Wheel was lost. And so these Rat Ogres are getting picked apart for free, essentially, by the Cold Ones. Meantime, up here, you can see my infantry is not doing the best, but between the Bastillodon, the two Carnosaurs, and of course Kroq, I'm simply able to just stomp all over my opponent's infantry. You can see some of these Saurus warriors are coming back. Of course, they're very badly mauled and out of control. Actually, most of my infantry at this point is out of control, and this is definitely a bit of a problem with Saurus. Actually, all of my infantry is out of control. And you can see the only units that I still have control over are, of course, the Golden Riders, who are being hit by another Revivification Crystal right now, and my trio of Lords. who are doing their very best to just shut down this blob of enemy units, trying to deal with these plague monk sensor bearers. As you can see, it is kind of the end for my opponent here, as it's mostly mop up at this point between my remaining units and his troops. So, a Pyrrhic victory. Had a lot of fun trying out a very horde heavy build. You can see the Stars Warriors trade incredibly efficiently with the Skaven units, which are rather pitiful in most of their stats. You can see the definitely don't understate the grenade units for the Skaven. They can do immense amounts of work if they're allowed to do so. Quake, I don't think was that bad of a choice. It simply came down to the fact that he got gooned by a bunch of Star Scar veterans. Definitely, I'm having a bit of fun with the lizardmen. Something I don't well, with Quick Match in general, I'm finding it somewhat enjoyable. So far, obviously, I don't have any much as far as like concrete strategies or like expectations to do, but I've been seeing. I think that a lot of Quick Match gameplay in Warhammer 2 seems to revolve more around. I don't want to say cheese necessarily, but it is a bit more gimmicky because each faction does have its little special ability. That just affects all units around the map. Or whether that be a negative in the case of lizardmen, but basically positive for the high elves, the positive for the dark elves. Some of the new magics are some of the new control and kind of disruption magics are much more, I think, are rather than simply being one thing or another. Nowadays, there's much more. I think, for lack of a better word, I do think it's a bit gimmicky, the gameplay. It's becoming it's much more ability based, it's much more spell based, which I'm sure some people do enjoy. I'm not necessarily finding it most ideal. Obviously there was some gimmickiness going on in Warhammer 1. We'll see. It's definitely something we'll have to see as Warhammer 1, of course. Sorry, Warhammer 2 develops, but and evolves as a game and gets updated and all that sort of stuff, which still haven't, of course, even had a first patch. So we'll see how that goes. But I do feel that the gameplay is a little bit gimmicky. It is a little bit imbalanced, which the imbalance is to be expected. But I do feel that there's definitely some the game is definitely built or currently built around certain spells being somewhat gimmicky, certain abilities for factions being somewhat gimmicky. And I wouldn't even say it's necessarily one particular faction. It's not something I know a lot of people are complaining. For example, with the murderous prowess for Dark Elves. But I wouldn't say it's limited to them. It's simply something that affects every faction. I don't know. It's made my Quick Match experience, I think, a little less pleasant in this game. And what has otherwise been a lot of fun. But yeah, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will, of course, as I improve at this game and as I kind of figure out the meta, I might find out that my opinion has changed. I just wanted to give you guys kind of a heads up of my opinion on my take on the Quick Match. And yeah, stick around for campaign, because that is a lot of fun. Definitely been having a lot of fun with that, and I hope you guys will too. If you have any comments, criticism, any questions, I can understand if you do for Warhammer 2. Be sure to post those down in the comments. If you have any recommendations for units you'd like to see and any of that sort of stuff, be sure to post those down, and I'll do my best to respond. As usual, guys, I do appreciate you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.